I got a call from a player telling me what was happening. Immediately, I called everybody that I had really good relationships from the beginning, when we founded the business. And I said, don't do anything. Give us time to be able to talk to you. We don't want you to do anything that's going to be worse for you. We're going to be able to, whatever it is, we're going to match it or pay more. And I'm like, just slow down and breathe. And immediately, I just ran straight to the airport, got on an airplane. In that moment, you also are thinking like, what could I have done better?
And the reality is there was nothing in my original agreement that I couldn't own the team and play on the team, which is why I bought the team to begin with. So it's like, to me it was bad play, bad form. Like there's no reason to stick your nose in at that point. Just let the league ride, let people play, have a good time, and then eventually, sure, make that play. But early on, go away.
Like I get intense, I'm like, hey, let's stop lobbing. Like, like that's the third lob that I just ate, like let's stop doing it. She's like, what do you think? Like, I know. I'm like, all right, then why are we doing it? Like, I'm like,
yeah. I mean, this will be probably pretty ADD too.
That's fine. That's our middle name.
I get the sense that it's gonna be.
So Connor Pardoe, he's coming on in a second.
Yeah.
He walked away, so I feel comfortable asking. You were the one who filmed that,
Oh yeah.
Like that experiment with bringing in, was it the service line?
Yeah, I mean, and I would talk about it even if he was here.
Yeah.
Like, all I was doing
I was kind of joking. He'd be fine to talk about it. I'll probably ask him about it.
I think Connor would have to know that was a dumb idea.
But here's my theory. PSYOP. Total
big
PSYOP
guy here. Big
and you
PSYOP
fell for
guy.
it. You broadcasted it. You were the useful idiot putting it out there. We just met. I'm calling you a useful idiot. This is good podcasting right here. But
my God.
all right, so you just happen to see this going on, and you're like, let me whip out my phone. And these were PPA staff or?
No, I mean I was just
I
was just playing a match and someone walked past me. I can't remember which player, but they're like, "Yo, did you see what they're doing on center court?" They're like, "It's because of you." And I was like, "What?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "Go look at center court. You're gonna be pissed off or something." And I was like, "I'm like, all right, whatever. I'll go over and see." And then I saw I don't know. I think you came with me.
I was with you, yeah.
And then there was tape. However many feet inside the baseline, and I think Federico and a couple other guys out there, and then Don Stanley was in his hat and just saying to everyone all right, feel it out, guys. What do you think? Does it feel okay? Does it feel good? And then one of the refs, you asked a question,
yeah, I was like,
and that's when I pulled out my phone. I was like, all right, there's no way anyone's gonna believe this if I talk about it.
I wouldn't have if I did not see
Yeah.
the picture. I saw the picture that she tweeted out. I was like,
It was a video.
there is
wasn't
no
It was a
fucking
video,
way.
yeah. I was like, there's no way
chance.
anyone's gonna believe me. All right, here we go. And then
I didn't believe you
tried to
for a
get-
good 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I didn't believe you even with the picture.
Yeah.
Why would it be because of you though?
Just
Have you
because
seen his serve?
I just try to hit the ball.
You say that like you're a Brit.
Like British.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
the Canadian. It's the
yeah,
Canadian
maybe it is.
accent.
Some people think I'm from Australia, but
Yeah.
I'm not.
No, I mean, I just rip my serve as hard as I can. And so a lot of people when I first came in just complained, has to be illegal. I've never seen a ball hit like that. Illegal. Has to be illegal. I'm like, bro.
Yeah, you
These
two.
guys didn't play tennis at a high level, so it's like.
You don't even actually really serve from all that high, and never
No,
really
because
have.
I can't, because it's already big. So if
Right.
I do anything borderline, it's like, oh my God, let's cry about it.
You two are basically martyrs, right? You've been
Martyrs.
persecuted for your serves. It's been a long, hard road,
Yeah.
but you've persevered.
Yeah.
I think I'm in the clear now, to be honest.
Oh,
Nobody's
yeah.
complained about my serve for a while.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're not
Who-
pushing the limits
who's else-
enough.
Whose
Agree.
serve do people
Deckle. I
complain
feel like
about?
people complain
Yeah.
about
Deckle,
Deckle.
Deckle's is
definitely.
pretty
Deckles just
wild.
looks scary.
Yeah.
It just looks like
It's just weird looking.
insane.
The toss,
Yeah.
the hop.
The toss, the hop.
Tyson.
Yeah. Tyson's is
Tyson's up
crazy,
there,
actually,
yeah.
I haven't seen it up close in person, but yeah, on video, I'm like, why do people complain about my serve so much?
Right, because you hit it hard.
Yeah.
It's for the longest time, just illegal serve has been used interchangeably with just somebody who hits it hard.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how low you hit it from. If you hit it hard, it's an illegal serve.
Yeah, because it's like, well, how's that? If I can't do it, well then,
Yeah.
he shouldn't be able to do it, even though.
Yeah. Well, we should back up a little bit and introduce you guys to the audience. So we
These
got
two random
Hanna,
players
Blatt,
we
and
pulled off
Grayson
the courts.
Goldin. You guys are both coming in strong to PPA, APP. You guys are both currently unsigned players, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Just signed PBA.
Okay,
a month ago.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice, nice.
Well, but
Yeah,
you were, but I
exciting.
thought I saw your name floating around during the tour wars, right? You
It
were signed
was,
with maybe
yes.
MLP?
I signed with MLP.
And then so was there sort of, you were one of those players who maybe was given an option to essentially take some sort of like payout and then opt out and then
Yeah.
potentially come back, which you are now?
Right. I chose to be with the PPA just because my goal is to become the best pickleball player I can be. So rather than just kind of take the money, run, I'd rather be a part of the PPA. And I don't know, I feel like they respect their players. They give them some perks, and it's nice to feel a part of it and then be able to play at that high level with everybody else that's signed. So
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
their
just kinda
venues,
nice.
their marketing is way better.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
just
right?
feels so like legit.
now it's all
as
the
a
same.
pro, so.
Professional.
And you can still get drafted to MLP.
Exactly.
If you,
Yeah.
So I've liked I like that you guys are putting out some content, some vlogs together.
Yes.
That's been fun. How many of those have you guys done?
Probably
Probably close to 10.
I was gonna say 10. The last couple of months, like just traveling together, all the tournaments, the life outside the tournaments, training. I don't know. I find it quite interesting.
I feel like that's content like I would want to see too, and I think a
Yeah.
lot of people would like to see it. I mean, in any professional sport, like I think Bryson DeChambeau, I don't know if you guys
Yeah.
follow golf,
Oh,
has
yeah.
done an
Breaking
amazing
50.
job, right?
Well, now he's like one of the bigger
Yeah,
YouTubers,
that's what I'm
right?
saying. Like people want to watch the highest level and see what it looks like behind the scenes. So I was like,
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't do it, but she's doing it, and I commend her. I think it's a great job. I might start getting into YouTube, I think, when I get home, when I got time.
I
But-
legitimately think that YouTube is the most important social media
Yeah.
by a long shot
Yeah.
because
It's how you build real fans.
I think
Yeah.
I think it
Exactly.
is, and you have more actual like interaction with them. You know,
Yeah.
people who
Yeah.
scroll past your Instagram
instant.
feed, they're going to be on there for 15 seconds maybe. But
Yeah.
you know, I get all the analytics of the YouTube channel, and people are watching my videos for an average of 8-9 minutes, right? And
crazy.
so, and there's a ton of views, and people go like, "What does a pro pickleball player do?"
Right.
People are gonna Google that maybe, and first thing that's gonna show up is probably YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So when people have a question, whenever I have a question, it's either ChatGPT or YouTube, whether it's something instructional or just like what the hell a pro pickleball player does in their real lives. And there's so much instructional stuff out there now that I like that you guys are doing something different and just like letting people get to know you a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like even at these tournaments, we've had people come up to us and like talk about how they watch our vlogs and how they've like seen us, I don't know, like a year ago and where we've gotten to now. And I don't know, it's kind of nice to like grow, but have them grow with you kind of in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
So-
It's the same thing with like podcast fans are bigger fans than social media fans.
Yeah.
YouTube fans are probably bigger than podcasts, and podcasts is bigger than social. It's like in these vlogs, like inevitably you're gonna be unfiltered, and people are gonna actually get to know who you are. Versus on social, where you're presenting this like
Highlight reel.
superficial,
Yeah.
and they're gonna feel like they know you. Just like people have listened to us for hours, right? So it always surprises me, like a kid just came up and was like huge fan. I'm like,
That's
fan.
awesome.
Like that's
Fan,
so
you're famous.
that's so weird, right? But they've listened to us for hours. Like
Yeah.
people will come up to me, and who am I? Like you guys are actual pros, and they'll start talking to me like they know me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's going on? And then I put it
But
together.
they
I'm
do
like,
know
You've
you.
listened to me for hours, right? And
That's
it's the same
cool.
thing with the vlog.
Yeah.
No, it's great. I think it's
You,
awesome.
you show that authenticity.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I feel like, I mean, I love creating the vlogs. I guess it's hard sometimes with like the amount of training, travel, competing to like find the time to just sit there and do a quick recording.
Yeah.
So I think that's for me the biggest struggle. But
Try to
I wish we
remind
could
you.
do
I'm like,
more.
hey, like take out the phone, like let's
Yeah.
capture some, like
Yeah, it
even
can be
like
exhausting. Well,
it's nice that
after
there's
we
two of
take
you
a
guys to
loss
do
and
it.
take a win, like
Yeah.
that's the last thing you want to do is take out the camera.
But
That's probably
right.
the number
That's
one
what they
thing
wanna
people want to
see.
see.
That's
yeah.
the raw I wouldn't do
Oh
that.
my god!
She had a
Today
tough match today.
I wasn't happy. I cried.
Imagine I was like, hey,
Hanna,
Hanna, how's it going?
I lost, but no,
cry
I
on
mean,
camera.
I should put
Cry,
that.
cry.
In. You
Yeah.
should have recorded it. Next time, it's okay.
All right,
I'll
well,
give
you
you
guys
the-
heard it here first. I'm pulling out the camera next time.
Pissed off.
No,
It's all right.
no.
It happens. It's
Yeah.
life.
It is. It's part of
so
it.
do you guys play mixed together?
Not this tournament.
But normally we do.
Normally we do,
Yeah.
but we didn't this tournament because I was supposed to play. Because I'm playing both tours right now, just
Yeah.
every single one.
Yeah.
Prioritize APP. If there was an overlap, I'd go play APP. So they canceled the Fort tournament, and then she was playing with Pesa.
Pesa, yeah.
And so she stuck with. Didn't want to drop him. So respectable,
yeah.
honorable Hanna.
Yeah.
And so we didn't play this tournament, but
Then
usually we
we've
do.
played, probably the last 8-9 months together mixed.
Wow, yeah, it's
10
crazy.
months?
Time's
Okay.
flying.
What's the training scene like in Delray? Like, what players you guys playing with?
It's
Really
good.
good.
You've been hitting in with
Yeah, I'll hit with
Couple-
Federico, Pablo. I mean, but tons of people there. Hayden, Will Howells.
Yeah. I trained
I see
with
Andre,
Tyra in
Anna
Georgia.
Bright, Tyra.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
So that's
Hold
like
on,
the
I want to
Boca
go
area.
back to playing mixed doubles together because like that's got to be.
Backtracking.
So my wife plays 0 pickleball, and that's great. I don't have to play mixed doubles with my wife. I love my wife. I don't want to play mixed doubles with her, right? How the hell do you guys manage that? I'm actually super curious because, like, you know, I've seen there's only been a few couples playing mixed doubles together. You've had Lauren and Julian. They were on, and then
Lucy
they were
and Matt
off.
have been for
And then they
since
were on
I've known
again.
pickleball.
Matt and Lucy look like they're just having the absolute worst possible time out there.
Oh, you used to have a great time when they would win.
They used to have a great
everything.
time. Now they look like they're just miserable out there together.
Well,
like, how do you guys do it?
So honestly, we started off like as mixed partners, and it was like amazing. We played so well together.
yeah. I'm
feel
like,
like
oh,
we're
I gotta play good. Like, you
We're
know
just
what I mean?
on fire.
Yeah.
And then obviously, like once we start dating, you open up like that line of communication where you don't know kind of if you're gonna overstep or whatnot. You want to help correct and teach, and so I don't know. I feel like sometimes I get annoyed with little things, and you're always trying to just be positive, but he also gets like frustrated. So then I
I'm
take
intense.
that on. You're
Like,
intense.
you know, like I get intense. I'm like, hey, let's stop lobbing. Like, you know, like that's the third lob that I just ate. You know, like let's stop doing it. She's like, what do you think? Like, I know. I'm like, all right, then why are we doing it? Like, you know, I'm like,
You're just much more honest with a significant other than you are going to be with with like a random partner, which like has its
Exactly.
pros and cons.
Right.
it's like a psychological like barrier. Like, you know, you're not gonna like. I don't know. We don't speak like that to other people, and then I'm like, oh, it's fine. Like, I just say, you know, and then I'm like, oops, and then now it's like, well, I'm mad. I'm like, oh, well, let's get unmad together because now I'm mad. And it's like, oh,
together.
And it's hard because pickleball in itself is such a mental battle, and then you add in this portion of like, well, now me and my partner are maybe fighting, but then
maybe that's the other part.
Like you
He's
lose
like-
and also wonder if you're breaking up.
Right.
Like,
No,
God damn it.
it's
No, we've never
completely
gotten
like
there,
separate.
but-
My
No, but
favorite
then-
one though, just to I have to say this one. No, my favorite one is like, let's have fun. I am. I'm like, well, I'm not. Like what? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I am. You're not though. Like, you know, it's just like it's hilarious. Like there's definitely that like.
Yeah. And like, you know, when you can read your significant other's like the way their tone and the way they say something, you're like,
For
oh, well,
sure.
you're upset. And you're like, no, I'm not. I'm like, okay, but you are. Maybe let's just not talk about it. Just let's not talk. Let's just play. We'll forget about it. We'll deal with it after. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I love being able to play together.
It's fun. Yeah.
Obviously,
I just
there
like
are
winning.
difficulties.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just
But-
tough sometimes. But
Yeah, I mean, I think that like I just think that actually like the variability is going to be higher. Like your lows are going to be low kind of together, and if you know, it's almost like, you know, the Bryan brothers were so good because they were so just like in sync with each other, right? And you have the potential to do that. You also have the potential to like be bad together if something from the relationship comes into that. Like,
I feel like we do
This
a
is
pretty good
fascinating to
job
me.
of like, those are completely separate. Like, we don't really talk about pickleball like off court. I mean, I'll give like strategy, like, cause I want to like, you know,
You want to
I'm
help.
super analytical. Like, I watch hundreds of hours of pickleball. Like, that's
yeah, dude, we talked to you. I asked you a question on the. I asked Thomas for some coaching in singles, and then I asked you a question. Then you gave me like the whole timeout worth of analysis. I was like, all right, this dude knows his shit. All right.
And
He
poor
definitely-
Hanna is like,
he knows his shit, but
Was
then-
that after me? After I gave
That was
you advice?
after your
I just
after
said
your
over and
advice.
over again, hit ground strokes.
How many
Don't
points did you
like
win
watch
after
his
I
ground
talked to
strokes.
Honestly, your advice was not just hit the serve as hard as you can, and that's all I did.
No, he's a great singles coach. He's been helping me.
I don't know. Maybe it's too much though. Like you know, too much information is
Oh,
like
yeah.
nothing. You know,
Yeah,
there's
for
too many
sure.
Things,
Yeah.
but
you only have so much you can actually process in the
Right.
middle of it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
it's
So,
good.
all right, I got to ask you,
Yeah,
Grayson.
yeah.
What the hell happened to the QR codes, man? I was starting to like
yeah,
those.
no, PB 5-star. Their branding's minimalistic, and I didn't have a clothing contract before, so they're like, yeah, the Bitcoin's got to go. Like the Bitcoin
Who
and
said
the QR
that?
code.
So for those of you guys who
shit.
who don't know what the hell I'm talking about, per usual, Grayson used to have this white shirt with an enormous QR code. Was it on the? It was
Well,
on the
it was
back,
on the back,
right?
so, like,
and then the
yeah.
front of it was a Bitcoin logo.
Yeah.
What did that QR code
So,
like link
yeah,
to?
so I guess I'll tell. So like I come from a blockchain background. Before I started playing pickleball, I was managing a blockchain project, a video game company for Layer 1 blockchain company. And so basically, like I went into pickleball and I was like, all right, I need to find sponsors because like I don't want to drop all this money. And so I found a crypto club locally spoke to, the owner. He's a Bitcoin OG, and we were just brainstorming ideas, like crowdfunding ideas, right? And so I was like,
out of the box.
all right, I'm gonna put a giant Bitcoin on my chest, put a QR code with my wallet address, and like be on TV winning tournaments, and just be myself, and like some Bitcoin maxis are gonna send me Bitcoin. And I made 4 Adidas shirts. Like, he was like, here, take this cash, because we came up with the idea together. I think it was his idea. And then we kind of like put it together. He was like, here's $300, go make the shirts. I was like, all right. So I just found like some vector logos, made it, and then I was like, all right, QR code, made a new wallet, and then we just slapped it together. And I was like, all right, on my Twitter, because like I'm big in crypto Twitter and stuff, so I've been on Twitter for the last like 6 years or something.
Do you know Nick Tomino?
Huh?
Nick Tomino?
Tomino, no. Doesn't ring a bell.
Okay, all right, never mind. We'll talk
maybe
about
I'm
that
not
after.
big enough in Twitter. But so yeah, I was like, all right, try to be like decentralized pro pickleball player on Twitter, and then like we'll see if this can go viral. Like if I'm hitting some crazy shots, and but the problem was the QR code was too big, I think, and the scanning didn't.
I don't think you could scan it. I think I tried that.
I had like 2 people send me $100 in Bitcoin.
Okay, so you made $200 out, or $200 out of it. All right.
I think maybe
all right.
now it's worth like 400.
Okay.
But
Fair.
Bitcoin.
I was thinking the goal would be like it's big enough so that when you're on stream, people could.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Versus in person.
I never tried
Do you know
that.
this dude?
Looks familiar.
I'll tell
He's
you
got
about
an
him
ape, though.
afterwards.
That's pretty impressive if it's legit.
I'll tell you about him afterwards.
Yeah.
Loves pickleball. Loves,
such a weird
loves
little
crypto.
world.
Yeah, it's
He's got an ape. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
He's got a crypto punk that's an ape. It's kind of rare.
Yeah, right.
It's like a 500K floor, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
For a JPEG.
Oh, that was sweet. I thought that was interesting. And then the APP pulled the rug out from under you, I'm sure, right? Like, you can't really do do that anymore. They put limits on your logo
size. They
size.
didn't like it at first. They were like,
Didn't they tell you
can you
to
wear
wear
a
it?
different shirt for the finals? I was like, no. I'm like, this is exactly why I made
He's
this
my sponsor.
shirt.
Yeah.
I think Nunnery sent me like $10 in Bitcoin or something. He was like my first sender.
The first dono.
And yeah, so I don't know. It was just an idea to try and like just be different, like and stand out. I like compare pickleball, like these tournaments, to like an anime. I don't know if you guys have ever seen animes. I'm like, there's always the main characters and then like the side characters, And I was like, I want to be a main character and like stand out, like and just.
I had no idea you were such a nerd.
No, oh, huge nerd.
He's making me watch anime right now.
Huge nerd. I'm
That's
making her
awesome.
watch Naruto right now.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
Super analytical, Bitcoin, blockchain,
loving
and
this.
anime.
Yeah, and big gamer, like
And
I
pickleball.
was huge, super competitive gamer, like homeschooled. There's so many
Okay,
weird
sick.
things.
What's your game? Like what were you best at?
Well, I would play RuneScape like competitively.
Yeah.
Like I was ranked 2 in the world in PvP in RuneScape, and then Call of Duty. Like I mean, I was like quick scoping. Like I was like, yeah, MLG, bro. Like 1v1 me. Like we were those guys. Like in the chats, just like, oh, I'm better than you. Like I don't know, just classic tennis mentality. I don't know if you remember like how tennis players acted.
I was not good enough at
He
tennis.
suppressed it.
Yeah, no, it's a little toxic, but I don't know.
Well, Hannah, you were super successful in your own right as well. You were an unbelievable racquetball player, correct? Or was it squash? Squash. Okay.
I mean, that's how I'll compare the two if people don't know what squash is. But yeah, squash. I grew up in Canada. I played against all the guys. There were no other girls where I was from that played. And then I got offered, went to Drexel University, Florida, scholarship. Played
You went
pro.
where?
Drexel University, so in
Okay,
Philadelphia.
yeah.
So it's actually funny. Not a lot of Canadians will like go to U.S. schools unless you're an athlete. So when I had to take like the SAT test, there was 2 people in the whole room, and that was like for anyone in like Manitoba, which is like my province. So anyways, it was definitely different, and it was a change. But the competition, the opportunities in like American schools for the sport was just so much greater than if I had ever stayed in Canada. But yeah, as a junior, I traveled across the world. I played like the British Open, Scottish Open, US Open. So I was a
Stuff in
top.
Egypt, right? Or no?
Well, I was supposed to go to New Zealand and Egypt, but then I didn't end up going there. But yeah, so that was kind
She's
of how I
a
grew
super
up.
athletic chick. Like it's crazy.
thank
She
you.
can do like a lot of stuff.
You've played some other sports as well, didn't
Yeah,
you?
growing
Like,
up I played flag football. I did track and field. I literally
I was
played-
gonna hear soccer or something.
I played soccer. I think I played every sport but hockey, actually, which is ironic, just like being Canadian. But yeah, I literally played every sport growing up. I did play tennis for a bit until I was 13, and then I had to kind of pick between squash and tennis.
Yeah.
Go with one of them. So
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, it's been good getting to know you guys a
Travis,
little bit.
are you coming on?
I'd never chatted a ton with either of you guys. You know, we've texted back
We
and
have a
forth.
special guest
We've
coming?
Chatted a little bit, but it's good to get to know you guys and let everybody else get to know you guys. I think these are a couple names people are definitely going to be seeing over the next few years, already making a statement, that's for sure. So yeah, where can people follow you? Where can they find the vlog? Like, what do you want to shout out?
Yeah, I mean, my Instagram, I do a lot of content on there, behind the scenes stuff at Hanna Blatt. And then the YouTube's the same thing with all the vlogs at Hanna Blatt. And then you have your channels.
Right now I just have my Instagram at Grayson Goldin _. I have at Grayson Goldin, but it's on another account and I can't change it. I don't know why. But whatever. And then I'm gonna probably be making a YouTube here soon, so look out for that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice plug.
Sweet.
Are you guys working with PB 5-Star?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. I think we're working on getting them in our pickleball box.
yeah.
It's pretty.
This is.
I like these shorts. I'm gonna have to get
these
some
are
of these
awesome.
shorts.
They have liners. I mean,
Yeah.
the slides.
Could've
I'm
been.
loving their clothes, honestly. Very
It's
breathable.
super comfortable. I mean, they just launched some new colors. They have more stuff coming out. And I mean, I love wearing it. I feel like I always get questions on like the skirt and the dresses.
What's that?
So,
Yeah, no.
Nice.
I love working with them. Great team.
yeah.
Got it. All right. Enough shilling your sponsors.
Hey.
Thanks for coming on, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you
guys.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
Okay, so Proton pulled a fast one on me. They invited us and a bunch of other creators out to their headquarters in Phoenix, Arizona. I played with the Proton that day. That was maybe like 2 months ago, and I have not stopped playing with it since. So I've obviously tried a ton of paddles. The Proton, to me, it's just different. You know, they say a lot about the durability, the fact that like Andre Deescu was using it for like 3 months in a row, which is unheard of, especially for pros who are changing their paddles like every day. But you just don't have to replace these things. The longevity, the grit, the structure of the paddle, it just holds up. They have crazy pop, insane control. So Proton seems to be one of those brands that came out of nowhere in the past year, and now they're one of the most popular paddles, selling out constantly. I just mentioned that Andre Deescu plays with them, but Caitlin Christian, Donald Young, Travis Rettenmaier, CJ Klinger, the list goes on. All these pros are dominating the courts with paddles that leverage carbon fiber technology from baseball bats for exceptional sound and spin. Following the quick sellout of their Series 1, Proton's Series 2 paddles are now on the scene, claimed to be the softest on the market, providing top-notch control and great feel, winning a lot of medals at PPA events at the 3.0 and 4.0 level. Find Proton paddles exclusively through Pickleball Central. Use our code, THEDINK, to save $25 on your Proton paddle from pickleballcentral.com. That's all caps, THEDINK, for $25 off. What's going on your phone? Interesting stuff?
More interesting than what we got going here, yeah.
He's
guys-
checking to make sure his
I'm actually
flight back
gambling.
home is okay.
I'm gambling, so I was checking my scores.
You guys ready for your match later? Who are you playing?
We're playing Michael Lloyd and Wyatt Stone. I feel like on my deathbed I can win that one, so we're good.
100%.
100%. If I lose
Travis,
that one, it's
Better
over.
not lose.
You had an absolute nightmare getting here. What the hell happened? And how do you not find a direct flight to Dallas, fucking Texas?
We had a direct flight. I want to say also I'm a platinum member of American Airlines. Thanks for taking care of me.
Oh, flex.
And we
This
had
is a
5
Delta
o'clock.
hub, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, we had a 5 o'clock.
Biggest American place there is.
No, this is the Delta. This is like Delta 82. Hey, Travis, can you just
tell
get
a
off the
story.
podcast?
I literally have gotten interrupted 4 times. I'm not fucking doing this. I'm not doing this. I had enough shit, all right? I've argued with enough agents, now I got to deal with this fucking guy and this guy. No, yeah, we had a 5 arriving at 6:30 on Monday. That was 7 hours delayed before they woke me up on the floor and told me that I was canceled. And then the next flight they gave us was leaving at noon and arriving at 11:19. We ended up getting up in at about 12:30, 12:45 to the hotel at 2 a.m. So, 36 hours to get here, stock standard. I did get my call though yesterday while I was waiting at the airport. You're up on GS4 now against
Dude, they
some
were
fucking
calling
guy.
you over the loudspeakers. Did
Are
you
they
know
really?
that? They called you over the loudspeakers.
I literally told Dylan, he's like, are you gonna make it? It's like, Dylan, I sent him a picture. I'm in Bradenton still. I'm not moving.
Yeah, they called you over the loudspeakers
Good
yesterday.
stuff. Yeah, just missed it.
All
So
right.
you would have played singles.
Yeah, I was intending to play singles. My theory was I'm gonna arrive on Monday night late, play Tuesday morning, get some reps Tuesday afternoon, play a bunch of pickle, and then play with this guy. That was the logic.
Have you guys played each other in singles in main draw?
I don't want that.
We haven't played since like
Oh, that's right. We played
APP.
the first time. Remember?
Yeah.
And he was talking shit early. You're like, this is the one thing I can beat you in, which is still true.
Was I really talking shit?
Yeah, well, I said something like, I think I started it probably.
I think you did start it.
probably
I didn't
started
know
it.
you, dude. I didn't know
I didn't
you.
know you at all. But I remember I was wearing like the jean shorts, and you were like,
Oh yeah.
You were wearing jean shorts?
yeah.
How many
was
pairs of jean shorts do you
pre-Sunday
I would
have?
still be much more comfortable in that. Dion won't let me wear it. I want to wear like
Good stuff.
The old Agassi
Yeah.
stuff.
Agassi, yeah, dude.
Yeah, like the old Agassi, like jean shorts, cut off, fucking just let it fly. And she's like, no, you cannot do that. That's ridiculous.
That's so Floridian. Were you born in Florida or are you a
Don't
Cali
ever
guy?
say that to me. I am a California boy. No, I'm not.
Nah, you're like
Cali kid.
you're like
belong in
Florida
Florida.
man.
Yeah.
You look up Florida man
Yeah,
and the date, and it's always a picture of
Yeah, you
Travis.
know that
Rettenmaier.
Florida man
I'm
account?
gonna really change my look.
It's like you scroll through the Florida man account on
That's
IG
me?
and it's like Travis did that, Travis did that, Travis did that.
I'm terrified of gators. I never go in the water. No, not a Florida man. I'm a Cali boy. Always will be, through and through.
How's the facility coming?
Great. We actually just did our shoot the other day for the branding.
Have you broke ground?
Well, we didn't have to. It's already a pre-existing facility. It's just doing the construction inside, and then they raised the roof a little bit. So, I mean, but the facility looks similar to this, 100,000 square feet of warehouse space that will be, done by April or May.
Were you guys a little worried when that hurricane was gearing up to come through St. Pete?
We were very worried, but fortunately the location is on high ground. We had no problem whatsoever. There was a electrical pole that fell down behind the warehouse, but that was up, recovered in a day or two, and everything's on schedule.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're very anxious for that to finish. St. Pete Athletic Spa, for the bougie ones, will be done in April and May.
Nice.
Wait, you have spa in the name?
St. Pete Athletic. The acronym is SPA.
Oh.
Everyone's calling it SPA.
St.
Spa.
Pete Athletic and Spa.
I like
I
that.
gotta throw a sweat.
What's Graham up to? Where's he at? He's not coming to this?
Graham's a tank these days.
What does that mean?
Does he mean a tank?
Yeah.
I think for him, a lot of it has lost its allure. I think it's less fun than it used to be. And the intentions that he originally had are no longer a part of the cause, so he's not really as involved. He loves pickleball, but I don't think he wants to be
Interesting.
as involved.
But he's still having fun. Like you guys are still rocking tennis sucks. Like,
Yeah. No, look, I mean, if I could spend 95% of my time at purely Crescent Lake, I'd be way happy. I love it. And I think Graham feels the same. He does spend 95% of his time at Crescent Lake. But I think the week in, week out, grind is not necessarily conducive to maybe our ideologies behind pickleball.
Yeah. Has he changed his shower schedule at all since you publicly flamed him?
You know what's funny is there was like a thing that I guess was AI generated that wasn't real. Elon Musk said it's like better for the oils in your skin, and I posted it like Graham was always right. And 10 people wrote me right away like, this is AI generated, not true. But Graham's attached to that. And no, he does shower if he sweats. So he says if he's going to dinner. But if he sweats and he's going to sweat again, then there's no showers.
Gotcha.
So there's like a real method to it. But
all right, yeah, there's a system.
There's a system.
So how often do people say, where's Graham to you? Is that something that you hear a lot?
Yeah, no, the funny thing I always
So-
tell him, go ahead.
Well, I just want...
Go ahead.
Well, dude, listen. It was a simple question.
Interrupting him left and
then
right.
you
Well,
wanna
I
go
felt
on
like there was
you were about to go into
a tangent.
and I'm trying to make a point here.
Go ahead, give me your point.
This is it.
Often.
I mean, it really
Rather
blows up,
often.
but I get that a lot with Zane. But I was gonna say, Zane, do you ever get a "Where's Thomas"? Probably rarely.
I don't think I ever have.
Yeah.
I get them all the time.
This is like what that woman comes up to us and goes, like, walks up to both of us and goes, Zane, I'm a huge fan. I'm like, I don't know. and like,
And then has you take a picture?
yeah, and back when Tyson Apostle used to do this podcast, we would like walk around PPA venues and everyone would stop him, and I'd just be like, man,
Why do you think that is?
because nobody cares about me. This is
Not very.
fine.
I mean,
Anyway,
I feel like you're like a good behind-the-scenes type guy.
yeah,
It's
I
like
don't need to be a face.
No, well, you are, but it's like the a puppet master. You're like in the weeds, just kind of manipulating things.
It sounds good, but also maybe a little bad.
I think it's good. I think it's good.
You were going to say something about when I asked you.
I was
people bring up
going
Graham.
to state that yes, people ask me where's Graham. That's a relatively often, but the one that always is comical to me is no one's ever come up to me ever at a tournament and been like, "Hey, Travis, great player, love watching you." Everyone comes up, love the pod.
Yeah,
no one
right.
ever says, great backhand flick.
Yeah.
Love the way. Nothing. Never. It's just always something related to my mouth, which is fine. You know, like the mouth, it keeps going. The game, not so much.
All right. Well, I got a completely different question, completely different line of questioning.
Right.
We've debated this at the lab with Pickleball, Ryan DeWidgeon, and he said he was going to do a segment on his podcast. Nobody listens to his podcast, so we'll do it here.
Raise the bar.
Raise the
Never
bar.
listen to it.
No, they do have some good social
Do
clips.
they? But I've never.
Complete change of pace. Where does a motivated Ben Johns rank as a challenger team completely by himself? The team consists of Ben Johns, and he is playing 1 versus 2 in the entire match.
Where does he rank?
Like, where does he
Keyword
finish
motivated.
this season?
Assuming he has like
Wait, like-
unlimited energy, right? Like he's not getting
No,
absolutely
no. That's not necessarily unlimited energy. Like, if he's going to be tired out by mixed 4, like, that is a thing.
I mean, I
But-
think he beats the winning. I don't think he wins any of the matches.
So, I think, we had a match between him and Anna Bright and Brooke Buckner last year. Now, that was before Brooke Buckner was like what she is now. She was newer to the game at that point.
Yeah.
But Anna Bright was still the second best female at the time where they played.
Yes.
And he beat them relatively handily.
Yeah, I think he can overpower and just overwhelm the women. I don't think there's a scenario where he wins a mixed match.
You don't think he
Ever.
could win against
guess
the
it's
second
possible.
team? So
I guess it's
the
possible.
second team, like the weaker team in mixed. And it's not every team. Like so
Yeah.
there's probably a good chunk of teams where he is going to obviously lose all of them. But are there
you're
teams
right, you're
where
right,
there's a
you're right.
weak second mix? And if he takes
Well, here's the question: is the man would have to literally like shove her off the court almost, and then it becomes almost a one-on-one where you have like a, I'll use Graham as an example. Sometimes we're playing in like rec, and I will be better solo than Graham and myself simply because I get to hit more balls, and that might be the case. You might be right. There might be a argument made for he's 50-50 against the mixed teams. So I'd say he's a middle of the pack, a lower end, middle of the pack squad, but that sounds about right.
and if he's 50-50, if he splits, he's winning every single Dream Breaker.
Yes.
If he gets it to a Dream Breaker, that's a win.
Yes. Of course.
I think
I don't know though. That's very, very difficult. That's very difficult because there's certain women that will just miss enough, but if they're solid and they just place the ball, he's dead.
Right, for sure. And I think the strategy comes out like halfway through the year, right? So he's got to get like a good first half of the season before you figure out like, okay, this is how you beat somebody in a 1 versus 2.
Yeah.
We never talked about that either. The 1 versus 2.
You said something like there's a strategy that can be implemented in the 5-0s.
I think a 4-5 could 2 4-5s could beat us if they played it correctly.
That's stupid.
What do you mean? 2 4-5s play you two in
No,
doubles?
no, he's saying it like 2-on-1 because I'm saying like I beat 2 5-0s on the reg, which
Yeah.
I do, and you're saying
Same.
that he can strategize with 2 4-5 guys to beat
All right,
himself
4-5's
or me.
probably not.
The
Maybe
dumbest thing I've ever heard.
low 5-0. So here's the thing, like when I was training in Wisconsin with Kyle Slinko and Ariel Butler, Ariel is now playing pro, and doing quite well. They finally figured out, I was beating them at the beginning, they finally figured out just to hit cross-court dinks and not hit anything
Yeah, but
hard.
the whole objective is to not let them hit any dinks.
Well, yeah,
That's
yeah,
the whole
for sure.
objective.
But if they drop
if they
it,
drop the ball and it's even slightly high, then they're never getting in.
right, yeah.
And don't you think you've improved the ball bouncing and then attacking off the bounce and still maintaining control of the point? Yes, if you dig the ball and you relinquish control, then certainly the 2 5-0s will manipulate the ball. But
Right.
you're never doing that. You're just
right, you're
pumping
going,
it.
you're going.
And
balls
they're
to
always
the
like,
wall.
fuck, the ball's coming fast. Fuck, it's coming fast. It's disorienting.
What they did was cross-court drops, cross-court everything. Basically, every ball was like low cross-court, and I couldn't. And then the court would be so open.
This says more about you.
That's fair.
You're 5'7", $133. Slightly
Bro,
bigger than Aiden.
chill. I'm 5'8", and
135.
40. Come on, bro.
And,
Chill.
and rather lively, might I add.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But no, I don't see anything below 5'2", 2 5'2s having a chance.
They just need some coaching. They need some coaching.
Not
I still
sure.
want to make this happen. I want to coach 2 5-0s against you in a game of 2 versus 1.
Zane, how do you think I would do against? Let me just insert myself. How do you think
You
I
have
would
to,
do?
or else
I don't know what the challenge is, but you would lose, Thomas. I don't know what the challenge
Me
is. I
versus.
don't know
Well, what about the
rules
time
is.
I beat
Great
you in
shots,
singles?
okay.
I think I.
I don't remember.
What do you
I
think?
don't recall. I just,
Wait,
yeah.
that actually happened?
Yeah.
But like, okay,
It's on video.
There was something not right
Wasn't
about
Brett?
that.
No, it was Will filming? Was it Will and it was
Yeah, Pickleball Will, I think, was filming.
yeah, who's the other person there though?
Okay, so you played like normal singles? Was
I
it like a
legitimately
half court?
have zero
Yes.
idea what he's
Yes.
talking about.
Okay.
Also,
obviously
I
remember, so-
took Jay DeVilliers to like 11-9. 11-8.
Yeah, but that's Jay. You're talking about Jay. You're not talking about Zane
Take a
or Travis. Come on.
my man. Hey, moving pretty good these days.
Yeah, all right, cool. Good segment where I got to talk about
Wait,
it.
I'm still curious about like, did this actually happen? And I want to know if the rules were the same.
I'm really curious
On
as
film.
well.
It's on film. In what year?
It was two. We played 2 games, and it was the first game was close, and then you were like, all right. And then
Oh, it was in that
Wait, so you won
At
the first
Collective
game
in
close?
at the
Austin.
collective.
Full court.
no,
this
it
is
was
not like half court.
It was 2 close games. Yeah. No,
Not
I'm like,
skinnies.
I'm like a pretty good athlete. Like I'm fast.
You're a good athlete.
so
I remember you're earning.
I'm
the
actually. I
vault.
think I will surprise people more in singles, and then they go, "Oh wait, hold on." Same thing Jay
Yeah.
did. He was like starting to get pissed because it was way too close. And this was in like my dad's backyard, and all of a sudden Jay's like playing like his life depends on it because he doesn't
That's
want
fair.
me to be on this podcast saying I won.
Yes.
Right?
So what was your
So
score?
as soon as they
Zane, when you
turn it on, it's like, yeah, I lose pretty quickly.
What was the score?
It was close. It was like 11-7, and then it was.
You won
11,
11-7.
Right? Like, no, he beat me.
But you said you won.
Yeah, well, that's because it's funny to say that. Cut this part, because I think if I
Don't cut this. Let's let Thomas work through this thought. I'm really
I'm
curious.
so confused. I
Dude,
was
it's
really
fucking
crediting
Santa
you.
again. Look
I
at
just-
Santa. That guy's pissing me off. It's November. It's the beginning of November.
It's never too early.
He's
to
more of a
marry.
Saint Nick than a Santa. With that,
I don't know, but he's pissing me off.
He's like an Indiana Jones Santa.
I like that.
But no, the whole thing was like, if I just say it on this podcast enough times,
It's
eventually
true.
it just kind of like reverberates and
I
people
believe that.
believe it.
Yeah.
And I think we were right there until we
I'll
got a little
I'll
too in
second
detail
it.
here.
I'll put it on my pod too. I'll
Yeah.
Thomas beat Zane.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about Graham actually did beat me in skinnies one time.
Yeah.
It's happened. I'm not ashamed to admit it. But his is actually real.
All right, well, getting to some non-total bullshit.
That's
what
not
do you what are you thinking about for the Smash? What do you guys any thoughts on what you're gonna do with the squad? Anything you're gonna share or what?
That's a deep question. No, I think that we just have to invest some more resources, time, energy into making it a better squad. I think that we have a challenge with me as a player. I don't think that's the easiest circumstance. I think that people can take offense to the things that I say. My position on the team can be challenging.
How many other owners do you have? What's the ownership group?
We
look like?
have several other owners, but we now have a majority owner, Trevor Burgess from St. Pete, who just came in recently. And,
Nice, congrats.
Thank you. And he's definitely what we needed. We needed kind of an influx of cash and someone who wanted to be invested on the business side and actually build the brand and change the branding up a little bit. And then I think we should get a coach, at least in some events, to act as a buffer at least between me. I'm not. Again, not the best at communication at times. So yeah, we have some work to do, but again, I think it all ends in the same pot at some point, and we'll get into that pot eventually, by default or by winning. I don't know.
Yeah, so you've had to have had a good amount of pressure to get rid of your portion of the Florida Smash over the years, right? I mean, it's been a pretty
by
hot
one asshole
topic.
in particular,
Who's
Yeah.
that?
Richie Toison.
He thinks you should divest or you should stop playing.
Well, he basically, I think he was leveraging me, but he was just trying to find an angle, which Richie, I got no problem with you, but he was trying to find an angle for the betterment of his team. Outside of line calls, which we can elaborate on those ones, but he owned 2 teams at the time. He was saying it was unfair if I drafted myself in a particular situation, so he was going to say he was going to draft me early, make me give myself back and leverage the squad, and then if I wasn't willing to, get rid of my own shares, that's what he was going to do. And that turned into a whole ordeal, probably end of 2022, that was. And we came to an agreement where I was able to retain my shares, but I don't disagree with him. It is a conflict of interest. At some point, maybe it will need to be addressed if gambling gets involved, but for the moment, just shut the fuck up.
We were just talking about this. The amount of conflicts of interest
Correct.
across
Exactly. I'm not the only one.
pickleball is insane.
Not to mention that year he had made a trade. Do you remember the trade that first season? Right. It was like, buddy.
What was that? Remind me.
It was, I don't remember exactly
he
who
traded
it
a
was for.
Kawamoto. He traded one of the Kawamotos to the
For
Brasha from the Jackrabbits.
The Jackrabbits to make one team really strong, the other team basically just fall off the map. Because he
And
owned
the funny
both.
thing was that he ended up screwing BLQK with the trade because we lost to the Ranchers one time, who had traded. I think it was just a bad trade. I don't think he was. Yeah, I mean, I've known Richie. I think Richie's a buddy of mine, but I think he's.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
No, I don't think he's a bad guy. I just think he's looking for every angle. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, aren't you within the rules of or whatever would be the rules? Like, I don't
not
think
at the
that
point to fuck
crosses.
someone over. I mean,
Do you think that was to the point of like just personally fucking you over, or is that really, or do you think that was a competitive move? Because I think those are two different things. If it's personally fucking you over,
it's a competitive move where the byproduct is
personally fucking you over. Right? Yeah, exactly. Ultimately,
but you could have. I'm sure Trevor Burgess would have taken whatever shares that you had for a good portion of money.
Well, this was 2022. This was early days. I'm saying I had been invested for less than 6 months at that point. It's like, hey, just let this play out. And the reality is there was nothing in my original agreement that I couldn't own the team and play on the team, which is why I bought the team to begin with. So it's like, to me, it was bad play, bad form. Like, there's no reason to stick your nose in at that point. Just let the league ride, let people play, have a good time, and then eventually, sure, fucking make that play. But early on, go away.
Richie's actually our next podcast guest.
He's actually going to come on.
Can you ask him about the line calls when he doesn't see them magically? Like, the solar eclipse somehow comes into his eyes and he cannot. Oh, fucking balls.
I do love how you would say the exact same thing if Richie was sitting right here.
100%.
I do appreciate
100%.
that. There's not a second of hesitation. I'm like, oh, Richie's next. You're like, all right, perfect. Let's talk
I kind of
about
enjoy
it.
being disliked, so I'm okay with that. I don't mind it.
Honestly, it's simpler when you're at least like calling a spade and just being transparent. There's no monitoring lies or bullshit.
That's true, yes, but it can get you in a lot of trouble, which I've learned. But
I always like guys like you.
Thanks,
Let me
buddy.
just suck up a little bit here.
Thanks,
like.
man. I need some of this right now. Tell me
just
more.
I would never like have a negative opinion of somebody for just speaking the truth. And
You would think.
I think there just needs to be more of it. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate the candor.
Yeah. What's the most trouble your mouth has gotten you into in pickleball so far?
Probably the Tyson thing when I called out the paddle, where you actually came in the next day and you're like, you called that motherfucker out. And I was like, I wasn't calling him out. I was just saying that the paddle delaminated.
Oh yeah.
From Red Rock.
Red
And
Rock
basically,
of
again,
2023, right?
Right. And
And you were with Selkirk at the time.
I was with Selkirk at the time. I was very aware that my paddle was not making the same sound as his paddle. It was that simple. And I actually thought I was doing a service because Selkirk at that rate had probably the lowest lamination rate of any paddle. And it was like, all right, well, how can I move this needle forward where testing becomes a part of the sport? Because it's clearly getting out of hand, and that's when we were having, guys playing with full D-Lam paddles. There was no protocol in place. So I thought, I'll take it upon myself to talk about what happened publicly. And there was a backlash for sure.
Backlash from Selkirk, PPA,
backlash from Selkirk.
people,
They felt like
players, Tyson.
No, Tyson didn't really care, I don't think. I think he just kind of like swept it under. PPA, they handled him in the way that they handled it, which was kind of sweep it under the rug and, say that I didn't say the things that I said. Because eventually, basically, I said I challenged the paddle. They ultimately said, you didn't challenge the paddle. Okay, but I did. Well, you didn't use the appropriate version. You said you wanted to challenge the paddle. You said you needed to test the paddle, something like that. And I was like, come on.
Gotcha. Well, we're looking forward to many more years of you incriminating yourself with your mouth.
Yeah. Hey, don't worry. I have no intention of selling. I'll go back with this.
If you ever need a platform.
This year, when like the thing came out, like if you talk, basically if you disparage things, you're gonna get fined. I was sitting with Graham. Graham's like, I'll pay half.
Really?
Keep it fucking going, man. Like,
What?
talk.
Tell me more about that. I haven't heard anything about this. This is just sort of
I
like
think it's just in any league, right? In any sports league,
no,
you're not able
yeah.
to disparage a sponsor.
like sponsors, the rules.
Right. And I think there's obviously reasons for that. It's necessary. However, if something is not right and maybe let's say unfair, let's just say the circumstance in Virginia Beach where they stopped playing all of a sudden and the next day it was like, hey, we'll play game 3 tomorrow, something like that. That maybe is not the best look. It kind of takes away from everybody playing on a fair level playing field, and maybe there's some favoritism. So yeah, if you're going to talk a little bit, which I always intend to, then there might be some backlash.
Yeah.
And up to this point, honestly, I haven't had any backlash because I don't think anything that I've said has been like off the cuff and fucking crazy. I think it's pretty apparent if you're objective in looking at it. But yeah, that's always going to be the way it is, and I'm sure at some point I will get in more trouble, and I'm okay with that.
Sweet. Well, we've got Connor Pardoe coming on like right now, so we're going to ask him basically what the fines are going to be. We'll ask him what the line is going to be.
On the same conversation.
Connor, are you ready?
Did you see him?
He's right there.
Oh, shit. Okay, so we talked a little bit about various pickleball clubs, how they can range, and kind of the market opportunity there, which I think is quite obvious, especially to us in pickleball. So if you've ever thought about investing in pickleball facility, the Pickleball Club is looking for accredited investors. So they're developing a premier membership-based private indoor pickleball facility chain in the United States, and they opened their first one in Sarasota, Florida in May 2023, and they have 6 more in development across Florida. Florida, obviously a really hot market for pickleball, but there's an unmet demand for weatherproof indoor pickleball courts. So if they want to have many clubs nationwide and really just like ride the wave of this pickleball growth. They're doing a private offering for accredited investors. So you have to be an accredited investor. Revenue streams are memberships, lessons, events, and merchandise sales. So diversified revenue. And obviously there's high potential for return on investment. It's a replicable model. Again, they're working on having their 7th club here in Florida soon and going nationwide. And pickleball facilities are a pretty stable business. So they offer a strong financial return potential in what I think we all agree is a booming market. So to potentially become an investor in the Pickleball Club, you can go to thepickleballclub.us/invest. That's thepickleballclub.us/invest. And, have a personal stake in the growth of pickleball.
All right, you're the ringer. You're the last one of the podcast that we've done. We've had a bunch of people on, and we were just talking with Travis on what the line is going to be with what people can and can't say before getting in trouble. And I actually haven't heard of anybody really getting in trouble from you guys. A lot of people have opinions.
As far as like what they're saying on the court, off the court, what do you mean?
On court, off court,
about sponsors,
just opinions,
like potential fines, like what would warrant a fine and what are those fines and how do you like regulate that?
Well, I mean, Ben got, I don't know if it was a $2,000 or a $5,000 fine. Actually, last tournament, he had some words to say about a certain sponsor of ours that pays a lot of money to be part of the tour, and what he said was a little bit degrading. So there was a fine associated with that. But I think the big thing for us is like pickleball's still in its infancy, so we want everyone to have personalities. We want Zane to be able to have a voice, to be able to say what he thinks. I think having people like Travis is also super important. So it's this fine line of trying to protect the people that are investing in the sport and trying to make sure that we're, trying to grow the sport and do the things the right way. But, I'm a big believer of, I think people having personality and people having their own opinion, I think it's important for people to be able to voice that, whether on or off the court.
Gotcha. Kind of a little bit of like the Dana White sort of idea, right? Like, he's like, you can say whatever you want about UFC, but don't say anything about our sponsors, right?
Yeah.
They're the ones that are paying your checks and whatnot. Like, so Interesting.
Do you? Okay.
What's the
Speaking
statute
of
of limitations on this?
are you worried about retroactive fines? That's a good
there
way.
could
You guys
be a
need a little
couple
money.
coming
You
my
just go watch all the YouTube
Money's in the
videos.
bank.
So I watched a Vince McMahon documentary recently. You just mentioned Dana White. Like, do you ever watch and like read about these other guys who have started leagues, tours, sports, big brands, and like, do you ever like watch that stuff and then go, I'm gonna try that? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I guess for me, like, I would never want to compare myself to any of those guys, but, you know, we had a board meeting just the other day, and Jason Stein was like, hey, you know, it's important for, you know, me to have an opinion, to say things. He said that he likes the way Dana White does things. So, yeah, of course, like, I think it's good to look to other sports and other people and see what they're doing and see how, like, who's a better marketer than Dana White? I mean, that guy does such a fantastic job. But I also think it's important to, you know, I've kind of gotten here doing things my own way and just try to continue to do that as well.
the argument would be a Vince McMahon.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you just go full like personality, and you're like, anytime you're on like right now, you've got like a persona that you have, right?
Exactly.
That'd be fun. Bring a new dynamic to it. Like, I was watching. Did you see that documentary recently on Netflix about Vince McMahon?
I haven't
the
seen
WWE.
it yet, no, but I should.
And there's this whole thing about, and I can't remember the main wrestler's name, but they turned him into the villain. And they actually tied it into culture and politics and foreign policy, which was a hot issue at the time. And then had Hulk Hogan come in as like pro-America, like the guy, and then Hulk Hogan became larger than life, all because he was the foil to somebody who was a heel. Kind of highlighting the fact that like having a villain, having the bad guy out there, we've talked about who the bad guys could be, right? But thinking about stuffing like that and almost like manufacturing these like storylines and subplots and then leaning on, and we just had Matt and Cameron on, right? Leaning on them to tell those stories, right? You're not necessarily going to go manufacture them, but if they're there, you tell them and you kind of use it and you capitalize on it.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think the thing that's different about us is ours is real. It's live sports. We can't control the narrative the exact same way that maybe McMahon or the WWE could. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't learn from what they're doing, because look what they were able to build. When people say, hey, the PPA Tour, what do you liken it the most to? Is it like the ATP? Is it like the PGA? You know, same with Major League Pickleball. I think just pro pickleball in general. I would say our model is actually more similar to UFC than anything, the way that it stands today. But yeah, trying to learn from those guys. But there's tons of stories to tell. I think when we look at what are the key things that we're focused on for next year, a lot of this year was just dealing with the bullshit. Like getting a merger done, the fact that thing only got done in February, getting everybody in the same boat, rowing the same way, getting the org chart cleaned up, getting the right personnel in. And I feel like, I remember I was talking to Tom the other day, I'm like, I actually really feel like we're at the point now where we've got some of the best people in the best positions where we can actually start focusing on the stuff that's going to make this a $1 billion business, instead of just trying to survive. And the number one thing on the top of that list is trying to take pro pickleball and help people understand it and be able to help tell a story of why am I here, why do I care, what's happening, why is this event important, who's playing, why do I love them, why do I hate them, who do I want to root for, what city is this, what Major League Pickleball team. And so I think taking the schedule and having Major League Pickleball in a condensed piece, like I was actually an advocate of going 3 months, I guess 3 months and a week, and doing it all at once. We ended up spacing it out just a little bit to give it a little bit more time. So we're going mid-April through May, June, July, mid-April, May, June, July, August. But it's more condensed. During that time, we're only gonna have 3 PPA Tour stops. So we'll have Atlanta, we'll have San Clemente, we'll have Bristol. The reason to do that is we can actually now tell the stories. Here's the PPA Tour, here's the majors, here's Major League Pickleball. This is why you should give a shit this week.
Sure, yeah, because right now it's super disjointed, and we have tack on events like we had in Las Vegas with the Major League Pickleball, which respectfully was the worst Major League Pickleball event we've probably ever had.
It was.
Just because I understand that like there's huge cost saving from doing them back to back. There's nobody there, and the players were fried, and it's we're in a tough spot because we have a full year of. So here's the thing. I've actually been coming to your defense for once.
Wow.
People,
New world.
the rumor has been like, is there still some sort of animosity between
Zero.
PPA, MLP? Sure, but that's what's
Yeah.
being circulated, right? And I think it's a matter of circumstances. We do have to fit an entire Major League Pickleball season in May through December or November, actually.
Oh yeah.
So like, yeah, there's going to be some casualties of those, like the Las Vegas event. So I mean, what do you have to say when that is?
I think this
What's
is
your
where
take on the rumor?
The rumor's terrible. That's an awful rumor. It's not true. I feel bad for Travis that he has an opinion like that, and a few other people.
Was that Travis's opinion?
I think he's the one that first came out with it. I like
Okay.
Travis. I think he's a great guy. He's just wrong when he says stuff like that. But with that, like, no one's more committed to growing pro pickleball and Major League Pickleball than myself, Tom, the board that we have, the employees. Like, I think if you came in and you saw it, we're completely unified now, which is great. With that being said, this year was going to be what this year was, because truth be told, the middle of February, the day before the merger happened, no one knew if it was going to happen. So then you got dealt with these cards. Like, I thought it was going to happen. I was telling you guys I thought it was going to happen, and you guys know how that all went. But no matter what, we were going to be put in a position where we had to, one, budget for what the year's going to look like. So that's why you saw a tagged on event. And two, how do we keep all these team owners happy and be able to run a whole season in this condensed piece? Our first event was middle of May.
Yeah.
And so it just really was a recipe where we couldn't do things the right way. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that next year is going to be the right way either. I just know it's going to be a lot better than the way we're doing it this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's only rational though to wonder, is it more challenging to build two brands than build one? To build two pro sports than to build one pro sport? I mean, maybe there's actually benefits to it, but it's
I think we're a believer that there's actually clear benefits to it. Like, for instance, our kitchen sponsor on the PPA tour, Hanna, they spend a big number. It's over $1 million a year. We were able to just close a sponsor with the same assets on Major League Pickleball. That investment's also over $1 million a year. Mm-hmm. So the fact that you can do some stuff, there's some good parts about it, but that's kind of the debate that's always been had, is like, is it just UPA Tour and UPA League, or MLP Tour and MLP League, or PPA Tour and PPA League? And I think where we're at now, we feel like there's two distinct brands that serve two distinct purposes. We really just want to focus next year on, we think the schedule piece and having a full year to plan and having a full staff, we think it's going to make a big difference. Probably not perfect. We're going to learn a lot next year. We'll probably screw a lot up, but a lot better.
Yeah. Is there any thought to actually decentralizing the MLP stuff a little bit? I mean, you have so many...
Put it on the blockchain?
So many...
Sorry, bad joke. Cancel.
No, so many, very powerful owners. Like, why not let Gary Vee plan an actual regular season event for himself in New York, right? The Fives play, or New Jersey, the Fives play 3 of their home matches, and Gary's in charge of putting those together.
Yep.
Or Rich with the Shock, or Ryan with the Squeeze. I mean, there's so many of these owners that I think could absolutely put on kick-ass events. I even know, the Saslows, who I'm close with, they put on a really cool event at Wrigley Field. They played against the Shock. They're doing their series there. Like, if some of these owners were allowed to sort of take things on their own to a certain extent, don't you think that might improve the quality of some of these?
I mean, look, I'm building a $25 million facility in Utah, for a reason, for my team. It's like, for me, I don't make every decision here. We have a board, we have a group, we all, are trying to figure out what is pro pickleball going to look like down the road. I think next year we're getting a lot closer. I don't know if we've publicly even really announced this, but the way the season's going to work next year is there's 14 weeks of Major League Pickleball. Out of those 14 weeks, 10 of them are regular season events. Those regular season events will each be hosted by a team.
Okay.
So similar to what you're saying, our schedule's basically done. So if we run our event in New York again, that's going to be hosted by Jason Stein and the New York Hustlers. Al's going to go ahead and run his event in DC.
Sure.
I'm going to run an event in Utah. Rich Chaffetz is going to regular an event in his arena in St. Louis.
Perfect.
So that's already on its way. And
but I love to hear that.
Yes. Yeah. So 10 regular season stops next year, all have a host team. My hope is maybe we do this and it's amazing and we love the format where tons of teams are coming in, or maybe it's a baby step for, in 2 years from now, you got to have a home arena and we're playing home and away.
Yeah.
I'm not sure yet. We might do this and we might say, you know what, this is so fun bringing 12 teams to a city and being able to play and a home team's hosting. Or maybe, it goes to something where we actually have home and away games.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think these owners just being able to run with it is gonna be pretty fun.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, look, this is what I laugh when I say, like, oh, there's like Connor or someone's not as incentivized for MLP. There's no one more incentivized than me. I mean, I'm one of the few people that own like a whole team. And so for me, when I look at it, it's like I want to find ways where the team can make revenue. And if we could eventually get to a place where I could host our home events where you can sell tickets, you can sell sponsorships, that's how we can help these run into real good businesses for these owners.
Yeah. Well, along those lines with the team, you made some revenue by trading off all of the players, dude. What's up with that?
Yeah, I mean, look, to start the year, we decided it's kind of weird to be in a city and not have any players from that actual place be on a team that's associated with it. So we made the decision for early, like, let's take the best player from Utah, Callie Smith. Let's take the best male from Utah, and Tyler Leung. Let's take a flyer on Alex Strong. She's got great social media. She's an up-and-coming player. And then honestly, we took Tyson because he's in Idaho. He's close by. So we thought, hey, it makes a lot of sense. Obviously, that didn't work out very well with Tyson and Tyler, unfortunately. It sounds like it would work out now. They were buddies. They're all chatting, having a good time. I'm like, what the hell's happening? It's a year too late. Yeah, so that was the thought. And then we had some opportunities to do a few things, kind of bluff on a Guangdong acquisition, and was able to make some money there.
You played some interesting fantasy football type of moves there, right?
Yeah, but we had fun. I mean, we did the best financially, but the best with the worst record. So take that for what it's worth. You're still playing. I'm not.
Well, I mean, it's early. It's early, but yeah.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
And I know you know the answer.
Okay.
Who was the streaker?
The streaker of Cincinnati. Random fan.
No, it's not. That was a total.
I mean, has there been a streaker since Cincinnati? I don't think so.
I think it was
one
Connor.
day in 5 years.
Definitely not. Have you seen me?
Will you tell me?
Definitely not.
It was definitely planned.
Definitely not.
That's what I think.
I know. I was looking at a picture of myself.
It seemed
and
way
Connor
too
Ogden.
orchestrated.
Yeah, sure. Definitely not me though. I'm
all right.
on like 30 or 40 pounds.
Another interesting question for you. You could say next topic if you don't want to talk about it, but like one of the most fascinating things to me is when the Tour Wars really blew up and you were in Kansas City, right? There's a whole interview where you kind of talk about the fact that you like jumped in the airport and then you were up all night. I mean, you were calling these players like somebody's trying to like take down your business and you are like fighting for life, calling these players like on the phone. What was that like? How'd you get through it? How's it feel to be on the other side of that? I bet that was a wild, surreal moment.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about it a little bit in the business forum too, and I'm happy to be open about the topic, especially, I think we're in such a great place now. But yeah, it's really hard to really explain how you feel when all that goes down, because like,
it's like fight or flight.
Yeah, I mean, so a couple days before, it started feeling like, hey, something feels a little bit off, and I couldn't quite. I remember I kept calling Tom. I'm like, hey, like, these guys have kind of cut off communication. We've been talking every day. I don't really know what's happening. And he's like, we're good. But I could kind of feel it, And I was in my office and I got a call from a player telling me what was happening. And immediately I called everybody that I had really good relationships from the beginning, when we founded the business. And I said, don't do anything. Give us time to be able to talk to you. We don't want you to do anything that's going to be worse for you. We're going to be able to, whatever it is, we're going to match it or pay more. But just instead of, because it felt like there was a lot of pressure on the other side.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just slow down and breathe. And immediately I just ran straight to the airport, got on an airplane. I called Connor Ogden. I'm like, yo, go to Target. I need toothpaste. I gave him a list of what I needed. He got me a large shirt. I needed an XL, so we had to go back. But I'm serious. I'm like, dude, it's not high school.
Come on, Ogden.
But I think when you're in that moment, I remember sitting there in the airplane, and it was
the Wi-Fi sucks, and you're like,
it's Southwest, no Wi-Fi.
Oh shit.
And I'm sitting in there, but in that moment, you also are thinking like, what could I have done better?
Yeah.
And I think, look, growing a business, and Zane will be the first one to say this, like things weren't perfect at the PPA Tour before this. They're not perfect now either. I think they're a lot better than they used to be. But, I'm not here trying to make excuses, but when you start something when you're 24 years old with your family's money, you bootstrap it, we didn't spend more than $1 million to start the PPA Tour. We were basically cash flowing from the very beginning. And in order to be able to do that, you got to be able to scrap, you got to be able to hustle, you have to be able to be willing to give your blood, sweat, tears, and have a good group around you that's willing to do the same thing. And thinking that all that work, everything that you've done could possibly go away. Yeah, it was a terrible 3 days.
Yeah. Just thinking about like, there could have been a world where you were like, we lost, and you threw in the towel in that moment.
Yeah.
And instead you were like, I'm going to call every single player. I'm going to get everyone next to me to call every single player, and we're going to at least try. And then somehow you kind of emerged on the other side of it. Like,
like everyone thought there was a spot everyone knew where there was a spot where, sure, we had Ben and Annalie, but we needed other players. There was a time where, and it was before we announced Julian and Deckel and a few others, where I was like, wow, this is not good. Mm-hmm. And I remember calling Tom, and Tom said, well, what do you think the business is worth? And I told him, and he's like, spend what you need to spend. We're not going to lose.
Interesting.
And so
he kind of Tom more or less gave you like a good amount of autonomy during this period of time.
Yeah, I mean, Tom didn't tell me to make the tweet that money's in the bank, but Tom told me money's in the bank, they don't have money. Make sure everybody knows, and I'm in. And so being able to have that, like, that's where you feel like you have someone like Tom where it wouldn't have been possible. Like, a lot of things had to line up. Like the fact that in 2020, late 2021, early 2022, we started to work with Tom. If that wouldn't have happened, I'm probably not here.
Yeah.
Right.
Here, shake my hand really quick. This is for the rights to the Netflix documentary. We saw that. We've got that
no,
on
for real.
film.
That was going to be my next question.
Today.
Like, at what point, it's probably still not now.
Storylines.
Yeah.
But
tell that story now.
At what point is there we can go into every last little detail, like statute of limitations are done,
right?
Like, you're retired from, you're just living on your beach house or whatever, and you do a tell-all. Like,
I'm not really open for a tell-all now. I mean, like, I think that was the worst 2 weeks of my life. Like, you'll have to ask my wife. You guys should do a podcast with my wife on how it was from the family. But to think that you might lose everything. But at the same time, where we're at now, like, I'm actually happy it happens. Like, financially, is the business in as good of a place as it was then? As from a profit and loss, probably not. From revenues, it's way better.
Yeah.
And the fact that you already have both groups, like, I can't tell you, like, the calls with Fox, with ESPN, with sponsors, and trying to explain APP, USAP,
right.
MLP, PPA. The fact now we can go to them now and say, here's Pro Pickleball. Just that, if you look at even how much the revenues have grown from last year to this year, if we could go back, we would have, I don't know if I would choose for this not to happen, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's not only that you can bring them to market together as one, but you don't have that competition for every sponsor, right?
Yeah.
Anybody you would talk to would, if they're going to be putting 7 figures on the line, also be considering Major League Pickleball, right?
Yeah, but now there's no one else to compete with.
Yeah.
Which is...
Well, but yeah.
I mean, whatever that is.
Hey, listen, we watched your word association.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, now you also just have the benefit of having all these smart MLP owners that were against you now with you. Al, Jason,
right.
Plenty of others, right?
They're the best.
Theoretically, you have one of the best, like, boards of advisors in history. If you assuming you're able to tap all those investors for advice, I know a lot of them are somewhat out of the picture. They maybe
some of the celebrities, but the other ones that are in business, they're all plugged in.
Yeah.
I think it's a combination of things, and we have 3 really good things going for us right now. One, we've got the right people, I believe, running the company now. I actually think the merger was great. We were able to bring a lot of talent in. We were able to learn a lot of stuff. And I feel like we're getting ready to announce Chief Strategy Officer of all of UPA, and it's someone people would be familiar with. But being able to bring him in, I think, is going to really be able to help.
Familiar with outside of pickleball, I assume, just kind of more like in pickleball.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it's going to be a game changer for me personally and for the company. So one, I feel like we've got the right staff and we've got the right group rowing the boat the right way. 2, I feel like the ownership group and the support that we have at the board level is super crucial in scaling this to a $1 billion brand. And number 3, which is probably the most important, I feel like for the very first time, we've got the majority of the players bought in to what we're trying to do. And whoever it is, whether it's Zane, whether it's Ben, whether it's Annalie, whether it's JW, whether it's Gabe, whether it's Hayden, we've got people that are really they also want to grow the sport. They want to grow their personal brand. They understand that the league needs to grow, the tour needs to grow for us to be able to take pickleball to the next level. And when you have all three of those people working together, it's a pretty good recipe for success.
Yep. I like it.
Sweet. All right, last question.
Yeah.
What new things can we expect from the PPA and MLP next year? You already dropped the great piece about, having home events sort of hosted by some of the different MLP teams and having that, 14-week MLP season. What are the next big steps for PPA MLP next year?
Yeah, I think being here at this event's awesome, by the way. 3,500 amateurs. Stadium court seats 2,000 people. We're completely sold out for morning and afternoon session, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And where I'm getting at with that, the PPA tour schedule is actually coming down. So from 25 events, it's going to go to 21 events. We're going to be sending out a revised calendar here shortly. Nothing's really changing. There's just a few coming off. What we're really focused on next year is having 4 majors on the PPA tour. Where we're operating, to operate something like this, we're spending about $4 million to operate the event this week.
Just this event?
Yeah, that's not
Damn.
counting players, right? So it's about $4 million to operate. A normal PPA tour, Major League Pickleball, stops about $500,000 to $700,000. So what we're going to do is we're going to really look at what our operating budget is, and we're going to focus on 4 distinct majors that are going to be week-long tournaments, that are going to be festivals with concerts and entertainment and nightlife, and really trying to define those. Those tournaments are going to have their own social media accounts. They're going to have their own brand, their own colors, their own look and feel. And then the rest of the PPA tour, we're going to be having that look very similar, where it's repeatable time after time after time.
It's a little more cookie cutter, the kind of the traveling circus a little bit,
yes,
right?
And these are going to be independent. Like, we have 3 people that work for us full time that only did this event.
Yeah, I love that.
And so for us, really trying to get those 4, you think about as we're trying to value our business and grow it, people can, I guess, debate what a revenue multiplier is, but this event here is also going to generate about $5.5 million of revenue. So if we can, if we can really have 4 events that we can lean in, and then on the MLP side, try to move the burden off to the owners on these individual tournaments, let them create something great, and then really focus on our mid-season tournament and playoffs. So we have 6 events that we're really trying to run up here. And then the rest of the events were rinse and repeat time and time again. That's what we're trying to do.
I mean, it's almost like you could potentially, like, it's almost like a franchise model in a way. You could approach it that way, where you find these groups in these locations who have tie into the community, and then they basically license PPA, own and operate it, but make sure it kind of sticks to the brand, and you give them the playbook.
That's how we're doing all of international, by the way, just like that.
Yeah.
Where we're finding a master person to control PPA Tour Major League Pickleball Asia, and then they're subbing it out, and they're
like Australia. It's because I just was looking, and it's the PPA Australia Instagram account. It's I just happened to come across it, and I was just thinking about it. That's a totally separate group.
Total separate group. Yeah, with these individual events, I think, like this one here, you've got a place like Invited, who's completely plugged in, who's been really important on us being able to build this out and get it up and operate. And having individual people focused on it, it's very important.
Any cities that you're looking at, you're we need to have a tournament there?
Chicago. Yeah, what's nice about being with Pickleball Inc. is we have the access to all the data. So basically about 1 million, 1.2 million that are interacting with the company some way, somehow each month, and being able to see where they're at. So Chicago's a big one that we have to get to. The other one that we found was Tucson. So we're going to run an event in Tucson next year. Where was the other one?
I saw that one. I thought that was kind of random.
Yeah, it was Tucson, Chicago. Where was the other one? Milwaukee, by the way, is crushing it in ticket sales.
Yeah, that's all, dude.
I can't even believe it.
I keep telling Dylan my code isn't working right now. Zane 30. I've got 100+ people that are.
Is it not working? Really?
He's been working on it back and forth. I don't know who it's
We gotta get it to Parker. Yeah.
Get it to Parker something. I have so many people asking me for that code. I can't wait for that. I can't believe you have fucking Catherine Parento on the flyer. I'm out of here.
Oh yeah.
for the home tournament, the Milwaukee boy, you got to get me on the flyer
that's the
next year, dude.
we're talking about.
You got to get the flyer.
We'll get you on the updated flyer today.
Let's go.
All right. Well, thank you, boys. Cool. I appreciate it, and thanks for the podcast and all you guys do for the sport.
Thanks for having us here.
It really, having stuff like this and having people that are dedicated and trying to grow it, I think it's really important. So we appreciate it.
No,
cool. Thanks for not finding me for all the shit I say.
Come a long way.
Thanks for not finding me for all the shit I say.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, rather had fun